How are you, beautiful?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You look so cute. Let
Oh,
me.
thanks. I dressed up today for work for this.
Oh, okay. I love it. I love
I
it.
yeah.
So, Dr. Ebony, we're so excited to have you on today.
I'm excited to be here.
Okay, ask this question about feet. I have this problem about my foot. So, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. And hopefully, people can
Absolutely.
leave with some gems. I'm sure you have plenty of gems to drop. But before we get started, today is not just any regular day. You see, I
No,
have
it's
on my
not. Oh,
my voting sticker. I love it.
good.
So I want to dive in and start with this. Millions of Americans are, making their voices heard today. They're standing in the lines. They are fighting for their rights, fighting for their hopes and their dreams, right? And I want to ask you, with this being an unprecedented election cycle, we've been inundated on the news with everything. We know, what it is that we want. We know what it is that we're voting for. I want to ask you, what does voting mean to you? And why, if you did, why did you vote?
So, voting is very, very, very important. Specifically for me and my family, we are very aware historically of how much our votes weren't counted or how the implications of voter suppression, the implications of why they want to suppress our vote, that's very aware and important for me and my family. So not voting is not an option for us. And then, it's not just about the presidential elections. I think that every 4 years, people get all hot and bothered about, elections, but people need to understand it's about your local elections. Um, so that's something that I think that people need to understand. Like you can have a huge amount of effect in your voting rights every year, not just 4 years. So that's something that I have the right to vote, especially this year.
I think our connection is broken up.
Uh-oh.
It's a little distorted, a little bit.
A
Let
little
me.
bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Am I back?
Yeah,
Kind
you're
of.
back. You're back.
Okay.
Kind
Okay.
You're back. You're back.
So yeah, I was just
Uh,
saying that we have the
okay.
responsibility to determine where our country goes at this point, and I hope everyone decides to vote and vote responsibly.
I love it. So you heard her. You heard the doctor. You guys go out and exercise your right and do it responsibly and safely. Be safe.
Safely. That's a huge thing.
thank you for thank you for sharing that, Dr. Ebony. So let's just go back for a minute. So you grew up here in Southern California in Temecula. What were your career aspirations as a kid? I think we're breaking up again. Okay.
See if I can shift a little bit. Maybe it's me. I don't know.
Okay.
Is that a little bit better?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still frozen.
Hmm. Let's see.
I don't know. Dr. Ebony, do you mind if we hang up and start back over? Okay. Look, you're clearer now. Like whatever this is good.
Am I clear now?
Yes, you
Okay,
look.
so let's
It's
let's
clear.
keep going. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, is
Thanks.
that better? Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, I grew up in Temecula and, I was a big athlete. I played softball, I played basketball, played volleyball. I was really into sports. And so naturally with sports come injuries. And so I had a couple injuries that led me to see my orthopedic doctor for surgery. So that therein lies my introduction to medicine. But then in the backdrop of all of that, I have several family members who are practicing physicians.
Right.
So, growing up and kind of witnessing that kind of trajectory of a couple of my aunts and uncles was like, okay, well, this is possible. I can do this. So um, early on, I was like, you know what? I think that I can do this. I'm smart. I can do science, and I want to do something in the realm of sports medicine. So that's kind of when I was 13, I decided early on.
Oh,
That's
you
what
knew
I wanted to do.
early.
Yeah.
And speaking of your family, your brother's a doctor, Dr. Kyle, and your father, is that right? Is he a
Yes.
physician
So
also?
my brother is a family medicine doctor, and my dad, he is a doctor, but not a practicing physician. He's a PhD. So he has his PhD in education.
Wow. So growing up in the family with, your dad and your mom's an educator or a former educator, did they influence or inform your decision at all? Did they play a part in your decision?
You know what? Not at all. It was really actually a lot of people ask that and they're like, oh my gosh, your house must have been so much pressure and da 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 da. And it was actually
Right.
quite the opposite. Like my parents were heavily into education. And so whatever we did, we were going to try and thrive to be the best at it. But
Right.
it was actually quite the opposite. My mom was like, are you sure? Like, are you sure you want to do this?
Right.
So I think that was kind of her way to make sure that we actually wanted it. But we definitely got encouraged throughout the way. And it's been, we have a lot of family support. So if we didn't want to become doctors, that would have been okay too. But, we were going to do and be the best at whatever we did.
I love it. And you spoke of you playing basketball and volleyball in high school, and you also
Hmm.
went on to play D1 at Hampton. Did you ever consider that to be a career? Like, ever consider playing basketball professionally?
So there was like well, not exactly. For women athletes, there's no like pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for us, like in terms of like a
Hmm.
professional athlete type of thing. There was like a
Right.
couple months in my career where I was thinking like maybe I'll go and play overseas. Like that would be cool, play overseas volleyball or
Hmm.
something. And then I was like, but my knees, the way that my knees are happening right now, I don't know if I
Girl.
can
Oh,
sustain this career.
those
So
knees, doctor.
not with
The
these knees
knees.
the way they're going right now. So I was like, I need to figure it out and just be a professional and go towards what I'm envisioning. So
Yes. And so you went to Hampton for undergrad, and you got your degree in biology at Hampton. I'm a fellow HBCU grad myself. I went to Prairie View A&M University. My
hey,
niece wants to go to Hampton.
wonderful.
She's in school now, so she's not watching, but you may have to help us. You may have to give us some tips. But
I
I have to
I
ask you,
will.
what? Yes, I'm going to be in your DM, so I'm going to be asking you questions about Hampton. But what tools did Hampton equip you with to prepare you for the next steps of your career journey?
I think the biggest
Mhm. Man, doctor, I'm sorry, but we're breaking. I'm sorry, doctor, we broke up again. We broke. Okay. It's still it's still breaking up. Oh gosh, no. Okay.
Am I there?
You're here now. Yeah, you're here now.
I'm here now. Okay.
Yes,
All
you're
right.
here now.
I'm
And I
sorry. You
want
kept
people
keep
to
kind of
hear
going
what
in and
you were.
out.
I want people to hear what you were saying about Hampton. Um, okay, can I read? Can I ask it
Yep.
over if you don't mind?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Hmm.
Okay. So I know that you attended Hampton and HBCU, again, a fellow HBCU grad myself. What tools did Hampton equip you with um, that prepared you for the next steps of your career journey?
Right. Well, I mean, I was just thinking about that, and it's just the biggest thing is just being surrounded by other successful people who can uplift and support you.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing like having
Yeah.
someone or somewhere to go to with all of your resources that are available to you. People who want to see you win.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Yes.
small, close-knit environment, and so I feel like and people might disagree with this statement, but I feel like anywhere you can do like English 101, biochemistry, all of your undergraduate classes, but it's
Mm-hmm.
the difference is when you graduate, what does that support system look like? And when you graduate from an HBCU, it's just automatically built in. So the trajectory of your career, it just like sky's the limit because there's so much resources that you've been able to have access to that it's just easier.
Yes, I love that. And then our next VP went to the other HU, to Howard. Why do you think HBCU? And so now, do you notice there's all of this hype around HBCUs that really wasn't there before? Not
Of
necessarily
course,
because
yes,
of
no,
Kamala,
no,
but
I
there's all.
it's like, oh, now
I'm
you want to
like,
come,
wait, where
right?
was this hype when I was going there?
I
There
know,
was
yeah,
no
no.
hype about an HBCU.
I think it's because people are now realizing like the value of it, like people are now
Yeah.
realizing that, I feel as though in the past HBCUs were given a bad rap
Yes.
by the majority of people who didn't go there,
Mhm.
and it was a lot
Mhm.
of misconstrued conceptions like, oh, you can only go there unless you're Black. That's a falsehood. Anybody can go there. Or,
Right.
they're lesser than the predominantly white institutions. That's a farce. Like everything there is the exact, if you have to be an accredited university. So
Right.
I think there was a lot of like negativity put out there, but then now when all you see is 80 to 90% of your African American physicians, doctors, and teachers come from HBCUs, you can't say that this is like a subpar education because look at this, like look at the success,
Right.
and the success speaks for itself. So,
Right.
so welcome to the HBCU
Welcome.
train. Like,
Welcome to the train.
welcome.
Welcome to the train. I love it. Welcome. And you did you pledge any? Did you pledge while you were in school at all?
Unfortunately, no. I would have loved to. I would have. I mean, volleyball definitely kept me busy. So if I had one regret in college, it is that I will still
Okay.
consider doing a grad chapter, but you never know.
Okay. Okay. I'm not gonna put you on the spot and ask. I'm a Delta, by the way, but I'm not gonna put you on the spot and
My
ask.
mom and
But
all my aunts are deltas too, so I literally
oh
don't
well,
have a choice. Like,
you definitely don't have a choice, ma'am. You don't have a choice. So I already know. Okay. Got it. Hey mom. Hey Sarah. Hey aunties. Hey Sarah. So then you went on to attend medical school at Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, where you earned your master's in biomedical science, and then you went on to earn your medical degree from Des Moines University of Medicine and Health Sciences in Iowa. You're official.
yeah,
You're
it took me a while. I'm official.
yeah, yeah. You're pretty official.
Definitely.
You didn't just
Definitely.
stop in Hampton. You didn't just stop.
Well,
I asked,
yeah, but that's the thing. Like, you can't just stop at undergrad these days because these
right,
days you're going to need your higher level of education in order to reach those top tier levels, especially in like, the STEM sciences. You have to continue. So, I mean, that's another beautiful portion about the HBCUs is that they have built-in programs
Mhm.
to get you to those levels. So,
Yes. And did they help you at Hampton to go on to Philadelphia to college there? Did they help you prepare for that as well?
they have like a whole committee. They have a whole committee for you to apply. Like if they know your goal is to become a medical doctor or any type
Mhm.
of physician, they have you submit your application, they have you submit your essays, your transcripts will go over with your college counselor.
Wow.
And then they'll have a list like these are the schools that you can apply to. These are the schools that you need to be have a backup, and these are your programs because you need A, B, and C. So it's laid out for you.
See,
So yeah,
reason number 100,045
I know,
why you should go to
112.
HBC. Right. So now, Dr. Ebonie, you're now the star of TLC's hit show, My Feet Are Killing Me. I absolutely love this. It's my guilty pleasure. I'm like, but I do get frightened sometimes. Like, oh my God, like what the
Yeah.
heck? Talk to us about how this show came about because it almost didn't. Is that right? Like you almost didn't go through with it, or you didn't get
Well,
it?
you know, I almost didn't know that this was a real thing, to be honest with you. So yeah, so I had started my job as an independent contractor working at a private practice. And,
Mhm.
you know, as an independent contractor, it's your job to do basically your own marketing, right? So, you know, in doing so, I did a lot of things like, hey, this is what I could do. This is where I'm doing it. Here's some Facebook ads, here's some YouTube videos, Instagram, all the social media outlets I was on.
Right.
And the production company who had thought of the show about feet, they had emailed the office a few times, and the office manager was like, "This is like spam. It's got to be spam. Like no one's making a show about feet. Like this is just ridiculous. Like no."
Yeah.
But come to find out, you know, the last time they sent the message, she was just like, "Here, you know, check this out. If it's real, this could actually help you with, you know, making your office flourish, blah, blah, blah. And if not, just like leave it alone." So,
Right.
long story short, I responded to the email and then they set up the Skype messaging situation. They were like, "Thank God, like you answered." And I was like, "I thought this was spam." Like,
Wow, doctor.
yeah, so they followed me around for a couple weeks, and they had interviewed obviously like a bunch of other doctors too for the show, but then the network and the production company ended up deciding upon two doctors, myself and Dr. Bradley,
Mhm.
and that's it.
The rest
They
is
yeah.
history. And now we get to see your beautiful face on TV on Thursday
Yeah.
nights on TLC.
Yeah.
Um, talk to us. You're seeing patients now during COVID. Talk to us about this process. Like when COVID first started back in March, was that difficult to pivot to start seeing patients digitally, or was that
Uh,
an easy transition? Talk to us about that transition.
well, you know, when COVID first happened, like nobody knew what was going on. Like zero people knew what was going on. So,
Mhm.
um, we wanted to keep our doors open for patients who needed us because
Mhm.
you don't want to go to the hospital to get hospital acquired COVID, right? So,
Right.
um, I was encouraging people that if they don't have an emergency to just stay at home, but I'm here if you have like a chronic wound or an infected toenail or a broken bone. Like let's have
Mhm.
you come in so you don't have to go to the hospital. But for the large majority of patients for follow-ups and for like, you know, things that can wait, they should wait.
Right.
So then, you know, telemedicine started happening and I was doing a lot of that. Like, okay, maybe just put some ice on this, elevate that. I'll prescribe you some meds, you know,
Right.
stuff like
Right.
that. So as things have evolved, now we have more of a protocol for when patients do come in. So I'm always wearing my N95 mask. Patients are required to wear their masks. We're not touching each other.
Right.
You know, we're just kind of keeping our distance. But no, things have been very good. Um, I think that there was a period of time where there was people who didn't want to wear their masks in establishments, and that was kind of a weird transition for us. And we were kind of like, well, you won't really get served unless you wear a mask.
Right. No mask, no
And
service.
that's just how this will go. But yeah,
That whole thing is
that
beyond
whole
me.
thing was, yeah, weird. But now everyone's kind of on board. kind of a lot better now. Elective surgery has opened up, so I'm doing a lot of elective surgery because people are staying at home. It's easy for them to recover now that they're not doing anything. So
yeah, that's true.
yeah.
And in last week's episode, okay, so Savannah, I believe that's her name, right? We saw
Yes.
Savannah, and she suffered from, and hopefully I pronounced this right, macrocephaly. Is that right?
Perfect. That's
okay.
perfect.
Ooh,
You got
I was worried. I was like, let me get this right. And then her boyfriend, she says, how didn't he not see that?
I feel like he had to have seen it. I feel like it's something that you just don't want to bring up because you can tell it makes the other person feel insecure or uncomfortable. So I feel like he's just a really nice guy.
That's what I thought too.
I was like, what a sweet guy. Like, let's not talk about it. If she's not comfortable to talk about it, we don't have to talk about it. I think that was sweet.
I thought the same thing. I was like, he's had to see if they
yeah,
together.
He probably was like,
what's her
okay,
update?
Yeah.
How is she? What's her update?
She's doing good. So basically, her surgery is complete, but she is in the midst of healing. So what people don't see on the show is just the amount of time it takes for people to actually heal. What people don't get is that the foot is just so far away from your heart. It's not like healing a normal surgery. And then on top of everything, after you're healed, we ask you to walk on it. So the foot's going to swell, it's going to wax and wane in terms of like the recovery process. So she's in this space right now where she's almost healed with everything. She still has to, get more comfortable, like walking on her new foot.
Right.
But essentially, in Savannah's case, it was more of a internal fix than an external one. A lot of times on the show, you're looking for that huge, miraculous, transformation. And while she has a transformation on the outside, it's mostly on the inside is what we fixed,
Yeah.
Because you don't want her to have like pain in the joints because the joint spaces were messed up. So,
right.
But she's doing really good. She has no pain. She just told me yesterday, she's like, I have no pain, which is great.
That's so good. I'm so happy to hear that because I felt so bad. I was like, oh my God.
I know. She's such a sweetheart too.
She seemed to like it. How does one get on the show? Like if one has a foot condition, how does one, say, hey, I want to come on the show and get, helped or worked on by Dr. Ebonie?
A couple ways. So when the first season happened, it was a combination of people applying for the show or authentic patients of my own and Dr. Bradley's patients. And it was a little easier that way because we had already said, it was like, hey, if you want to be on this show, like you could really inspire people, you could help people out with similar conditions, blah, blah, blah. But now, because the show's kind of taken off and people know more about it, we're kind of backlogged with a lot of people who are applying. So you can go to, there's a website, the Renegade 83, fixmyfeet.com, I think it is. I'll direct message you once I verify that's the right email so I'll send you a flyer.
Because I'll put that in my caption too.
Yeah, I'll tell you how you can go about that way. Or some patients who make appointments with me and they want to be on the show, I could just kind of say, hey, do you think this person could qualify for the show? But either way, you have to go through the separate channels because it is TV and they want to make sure that the liability is not on them and all that stuff. So it's quite a process. So when people get frustrated about it, just give us some time.
Have you encountered a patient with a condition that left you like scratching your head? Being the medical professional that you are, that left you like, okay.
Yeah.
What was it?
I mean, I feel like it's happening more and more these days. It's happening more and more these days.
Wow.
Is like I get presented with new things. But yeah, there was one of the patients on telemedicine, Courtney Cox. I don't know if you remember that episode. I think she was like one of the first episodes, but she has a condition called hemihypertrophy. And
what is that?
Yeah. Essentially, she was born with extra large limb. So it's her right limb with like 3 times as big as the left limb. And so essentially it's big like that because there's several tumors in her leg. So benign tumors like lipomas or something that's not cancerous, but it's just taking up so much real estate in the leg that she could barely walk, she could barely fit into shoes. So that was kind of a head scratcher. You're like, okay, so how do I tackle this?
Right. Oh,
because I mean,
wow.
oftentimes there's like so much to tackle, you just don't know where to start, you know?
Right. What signs should people pay attention to when it comes to their feet that could be something that's leading to a possible health concern where they may need to go to the doctor? What should we be looking for with our feet?
I would say the most important thing is to just kind of monitor new lesions on your feet. Like if you have like a dark spot that's looking like the irregular borders, or if it's, something doesn't look right, I would say monitor that and just kind of see if it starts to grow in different ways. Obviously, if you can't feel your feet, you want to look at the bottoms of your feet every single day because you may have stepped on something. You could have an open wound on your foot, and you don't want that to cause you infection. So if you're not looking at your feet every day, I suggest that you do that.
Oh, that's a good thing. Okay. Do you think that race plays a factor in foot disorders like corns or bunions? Does race play a factor? Is it more prevalent in Blacks, whites, Latinas, or what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think race plays a factor in like bunions, hammer toes, things of that nature. That's more so based off of the person and if their genetics just, have a predisposition to have those. It does play a role when you're talking about skin conditions, though. So, for instance, there's several people who come to me they're concerned that they might have melanoma. For instance, like we're Black, we've got melanin, but we also have melanin deposits in our nails. And if you Google black nail or strip of nail that's black, something like that, everything in the world will pop up, and Google will have you thinking you have stage 4 cancer and it's like over for you, but it's not the case.
Okay.
So a lot of times you can have certain things that pop up that in other people might be a sign that you have melanoma, but in us it's a lot different. It's just something that's benign, that's natural. So I mean, when you're paying attention to certain skin disorders, yes, I do think race plays a factor, but when it comes to the bony problems, not so much.
Okay. And what about obesity? Does obesity cause concerns in our feet or obviously in our legs, I guess, right? And so the weight
Yeah. So, I mean, well, the diabetic population is increasingly rising, and especially in the African American population. And that has deeper roots when you think about food deserts, poverty, access to healthcare, things of that nature. So we can talk about that in a different section. But yes, that does play a huge role. Like if you are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, then automatically your immune system is down, your overall health is down, and then that has more repercussions on your feet as well as the rest of your overall health. So weight definitely plays a factor.
What can you tell us about this week's episode? Is there a new episode on this week on Thursday?
There's a new episode, and it's so funny because I have no idea. I can't tell you what it is because I literally don't know.
Doctor!
I know they don't tell me who's gonna be popping up next. I'm like, oh, I just find out when you guys do. Like, I'm like, oh, I wonder who's on this week.
Well, we'll be watching, and we'll talk about it. We can come back and talk about it.
Exactly.
Doctor, what tips can you share with our viewers on how to properly care for our feet? I know you said to make sure that we look at our feet, every day, but what are some tips that we can, put in our pockets to say, okay, I never thought of that, in which we can learn to properly care for our feet?
Yeah. So, I mean, you definitely want to wash your feet every day. That's a given. But you also want to apply moisture to your feet to prevent like calluses or anything like that, because calluses could easily turn into like ulcerations on your feet. Trimming
Okay.
your nails is always a good thing to do. Make sure you cut them nice and straight as to prevent like ingrowing toenails.
Mm,
Um, and then shoes is a huge, huge thing. Like you wanna make sure that you're wearing proper supportive shoes the majority of the time that you're on your feet because that's a huge factor.
okay.
Tennis shoes is always a good idea. If you have to wear heels, make sure you get an extra pair of flats so you can like have some weight distribution throughout your day.
Right. Are we wearing heels wrong? I'm 4'11". I know I may not look okay right now, but I love a heel, right? I love a heel. I
Right.
haven't worn them that much this year because of the pandemic, but are we like what height heel should we be wearing? Are we doing the heel thing wrong? Because I remember
I
getting
mean,
a few corns. They've kind
I
of subsided
know.
now.
Well, heels are always a tough subject because our feet are not shaped like a triangle like most heels are, so we need to have a wider toe box for it. And then
Oh,
also, if our heels are above 2 inches, and I know a lot of times they're like 3.5, 4 inches,
yeah.
sometimes six, depending on who you are. Um, but if you're wearing those high heels, it literally changes everything about your biomechanics. And so your weight bearing pretty much all on the ball of your foot, which just kind of crowds up that ball of your foot. So it's like you get the pain on the ball of your foot, you get crunched up toenails, you get
Oh,
corns, all that stuff. So, I mean, I'm not ever going to tell someone to not wear heels, but you have to do it in moderation
right.
so your feet don't kill you.
My feet are killing me.
Yeah.
Thank you, doctor. So I was doing research, right, on podiatrists in the whole industry, right? And I realized that there's a small percentage of Black podiatrists. Why do you think that is?
Um, I think a lot of the reason for that is because it wasn't really widely known. I think in the past, podiatry has been one of those professions where, like, your dad is a podiatrist, and I'm a podiatrist. And now we have
Right.
this family practice podiatry thing, whatever. So I think that's kind of like where the trend was. So, I mean, overall, there's just a shortage of minority doctors, period. So then when you have a specialty that's more so concentrated um, in the feet, that's more familial in nature, like because nobody knew about it, then that's the
Mm-hmm.
reason why you have a very, very small amount of minority doctors who are podiatrists. So,
That's crazy. What advice can you share with like a viewers watching that may be college students or maybe want to pivot and, maybe go into a career as a podiatrist? What advice would you share with them on how or what steps they should take?
well, I mean, if you want a career in podiatry, I think that's a great choice. I mean, I'm obviously biased for that, but
Yes.
you want to just do the best you can. I mean, I would major in the sciences. Obviously, I majored in biology, but you can major in anything science based, or at least take your science classes that get you into medical school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my biggest advice would just be to shadow. You need to shadow multiple podiatrists to see all of the aspects that we are capable of treating. So that way
Mm-hmm.
you're not super shocked when you get into the career and every medical field. Like for instance, I shadowed several specialists before I decided upon podiatry. And
Mm-hmm.
not only are you looking at the actual work that the physician is doing, you're looking at their lifestyle too. I think that's a big thing. Um, you kind of have to see it. Like, does this person love their job? Like, does this person have a family?
Right.
Are they just working all the
Yes.
time? Do they hate their lives? I would shadow a lot. So that's my advice
And
for
you love
sure.
your life. You
I
love your
do.
life because you're active. You look so fun. You're into fitness. I love your page. I was like, okay, I love it. Did you have to go? Did you have to go to school like for how many years of school did it take before you?
Oh, okay. Let me count. Hold on. It took okay, so I did a redshirt year of my undergrad. So it took 5 years. I took 5 years in college and then 2 years of my master's program, 2 year, sorry, 4 years of medical school. So we're up to 11 years. And
Oh,
then Yeah. So 15? Is that 15 years? Is
So
that for
one needs to
residency?
start
No,
in
14.
high school.
Yeah.
Okay, say
Yep.
that again, doctor. How many
So
years?
5 years of college, um, 2 years of a master's program, um, 4 years of Des Moines of my podiatry school, and then 3 years residency.
In total. Give it
In
tell me.
total, it's about 14 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a lot, it sounds like a lot, but honestly, it's not that bad, you know, because like, like what else are you gonna do? And that's what I was talking to, my colleagues about too. Like people who who are my peers, life still happens in the midst of all of that. Like if you're in a rush to like, I don't know, get married, have babies, and do all that stuff, you can still do that in the midst of everything. I wouldn't
Right.
recommend it, but you can still do that. And like you still have this whole like wonderful life to live afterwards. So
I love
it's
it. I love
yeah.
how so positive you are about that. See, the viewers that are watching, the college students that are watching, they're inspired by that. They're like, okay,
Yeah,
I can do this too. I can make this happen. So,
absolutely you can. It's
yeah,
yeah.
14 years of school, but no biggie. You got, if
It's
you
not
can
that
do
bad.
it, if Dr. Ebonie can do it, Hampton alum, you can do it too.
You absolutely can. I mean, the other alternative is just to work for that amount of years and you might still not end up where you want to be. So, be in school.
Doctor, before I let you go, I want to play a game. Are you down for a game?
Okay.
Okay, so it's rapid fire. So it's Ashley's 5 and 5. So it's 5 minutes or 5 seconds. Nobody does 5 seconds. It always goes over. So don't
Oh,
worry.
Lord. Okay.
But I'm going to ask you just a few questions. So I want to ask, are you single, doctor?
I am single, happily dating, but single.
I love it. Single and happily dating. I love it. I love
Yes.
it. What do you consider your greatest achievement?
Oh, I guess to date, the show would be a great achievement in my career. That's a good
Yes,
one.
1000%. What still surprises you?
Um, you know, I- the what still surprises me is that there's still things that I am shocked about. Like you would think at this point that there's nothing else, but I'm surprised at my level of like, what in the world? Like, there's no book about this. I haven't read about this. So
Right.
I'm still surprised at certain conditions that kind of come through. So.
What would you be doing if you weren't a doctor? What career path would you be
Oh,
on?
wow. That's always a tough one for me. I would probably not be anywhere in the medical field. I'd probably be somewhere in the arts, somewhere, I don't know, doing something with acting, Broadway, something else.
Yeah,
Not, not,
because you
not
love
science.
musicals.
Not science.
That's science. Lakers or Clippers?
Lakers.
Love it. What I'm going over my 5. Is that okay? I'm going
That's
to ask
fine.
like 2 more. Okay. What inspires you?
My family, they definitely inspire me. I come from a really wonderful, loving family, and I just really want to continue that tradition. And I really do look up to them and all that they've helped me to achieve. So they definitely inspire me.
That's so sweet. What do you want your legacy to be?
Um, I think I want my legacy to just be, I want to be remembered as someone who cared,
Mhm.
who was definitely helpful for others, and a person that, just aspired to be the best that they can be. That's it.
You've inspired us today. And you're a
Well,
Leo,
thank you.
right, doctor?
I am July 28th. Yep.
I'm a Leo too. See?
There
I
we
was
go.
like, yes, we got it. We got it. Dr. Ebony, this was so good despite our technical
I
glitches at the
know.
beginning.
I think we got it together towards the end. That was good.
We got it. We got it together. And anytime you want to do this again, let's talk. I have questions about Hampton, so I'm gonna
Okay.
be in your
I'm willing to
DM.
answer them for sure.
Please. Thank you so much for
You're
talking to
very
us, for
welcome.
educating us today. You have a beautiful spirit, and I want to come see you. I need to come to Orange County.
Come on down.
I'm coming. I'm coming. Thank you so much,
Alrighty.
doctor.
You're
And
very
make sure you
welcome.
vote, people. Vote.
Exactly. Vote and be safe. Everyone,
And
be safe. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Where is the buzz?
Oh, yeah.
Where is the buzz you said
We used to be
was
ashamed, bro.
mine?